Tonight on the Rambler Sports Locker, the men's soccer team's perfect record was on the line earlier this week. Find out if they kept their winning streak alive. Also, RSL reporter Haley Spittler shares her top 5 September athletes, and Dylan Conover's Ramble analysts discuss whether Louisville's football team is a true contender this year. Welcome back, Rambler fans, to another edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Andrew Brown.
And I'm Nick Schultz. Our top story this week is the men's soccer team and if their perfect record was laid to rest. First, the team was in action last Saturday, taking on conference rival SIU Edwardsville. Both teams had a chance in the early stages of the first half. The Ramblers had good build-up play in possession, which ultimately resulted in a header, which ended up being saved by the SIUE goalkeeper. Here, SIUE was also creative in its attacking half, connecting several passes in front of Loyola's box, creating a tough strike on the goal from about 20 yards, and SIUE just misses it. In this next sequence, Brody Crossell put in a dangerous cross behind SIUE's backline, where Ryan Walker mistimed his finish at the back post. Chances continued to come for both teams as SIUE found more productivity down the right wing and had an attempt on goal saved by Loyola keeper Andrew Chekadanov. Loyola finally found a breakthrough as Crossell whipped in across from the right wing, and Alec Lisinski found the back of the net and the front post for the game-winning goal. Loyola wins 1-0, advancing their record to 2-0-0 in conference play. The Ramblers traveled to Nebraska earlier this week to take on number 10 Creighton University. Creighton came out strong, getting their first goal at the 4-minute mark, putting a lead on the scoreboard. Ultimately, the Blue Jays worked over the Ramblers, winning on home turf with a score of 3-0. The Ramblers' perfect record comes to an end, falling to 7-1-0 in conference play. Loyola goalkeeper Andrew Chekadanov earned MVC Defensive Player of the Week. He leads the conference in goals against average, save percentage, and shutouts. This is also the 4th consecutive week a Rambler has been given this honor. Congratulations, Andrew, and be sure to check out the men's soccer team when they're in action again on Saturday against Central Arkansas at 7 p.m.
It was senior night this past Friday for the Loyola women's soccer team. They dominated Chicago State at the Loyola Soccer Park, crushing the Cougars 7-0. Senior Kiara Murray led the scoring with a hat trick, the first for a Loyola women's soccer player since 2007. Junior Emily Lang also had 2 goals in the game. This impressive win could mark the beginning of a turnaround for the team, who has had a difficult season so far. The Ramblers look forward to their next game Sunday, October 2nd at Missouri State.
The basketball program is preparing for a tip-off luncheon, which is set to take place on October 17th at the Water Tower campus. The event does cost money and will include a plated lunch, open bar, and a Loyola basketball gift. Men's head coach Porter Moser and new women's head coach Kate Octor will be on hand to speak at the event. The men's basketball team will begin this season with a new director of operations. Head coach Moser announced last Friday that 2015 Loyola graduate Joe Chrisman will assume the role. RSL's Blake Keller sat down with the former shooting guard earlier this week to talk about his new, exciting position.
Congratulations, Joe, on your new position. So for those who aren't familiar with the Director of Operations role, what are your responsibilities and day-to-day tasks?
So the Director of Basketball Operations is in charge of the day-to-day operations, making sure we have facilities, making sure we have buses, charters, hotels, kind of everything that goes on behind the scenes, making sure that we have practice uniforms, the managers are doing their duties, making sure everything gets done kind of before things need to get done. It's very, organizational, very, staying on top of the ball, something I enjoy doing.
So as a Rambler, you helped lead the team to a CBI championship. You've held MVC academic honors, and you also held a spot in the Maroon and Gold Society. So what is something that you learned that you can, potentially pass off onto the team this year?
The one thing that I've tried to implement even from day one when I stepped on campus to right now, when I try and talk to the guys, is don't accept not just your circumstances, but don't accept just getting by. It's not just about getting by, it's about raising the bar each and every day. It's about leaving places better than when you first got there. And that's something that it's a mentality, not a lot of people have that innately, and it's something that I had to learn myself, and it's something that I personally enjoy watching people grow and watching people achieve higher things once they realize that they can push farther than they need to.
Having graduated just last year in 2015, describe how you're feeling coming back to Loyola in a leadership position.
That's actually kind of a funny question because I feel like I've never left. I had been around campus this whole past year. I had attended games. I had stopped by practice. I had been in constant communication with the guys. Some of my former teammates have still been around. So it's like I said, it's almost like I never left. It's kind of like stepping right back into it. I didn't have the best athletic record per se, like personal stat-wise and things. So it's kind of like I'm just more or less continuing that kind of position that I had, that leadership position that people can kind of come to me, talk to me, almost see not necessarily confidence, but just kind of reassurance. When guys have a question, when guys need something, when guys want to talk about coach, if guys want to talk about their playing time, guys want to talk about academics, that's kind of the role that I've held, for almost 4 or 5 years now, and it's kind of something that I feel like I'm pretty good at.
The Loyola women's volleyball team has had a busy week in Missouri Valley Conference play. They faced off against Illinois State on Friday, and despite a valiant effort, Loyola fell to the Redbirds 3-1. Senior Morgan Reardon pounded 18 kills in the game. They redeemed themselves, however, with an exciting win the next day against Indiana State, winning 3-2. Reardon and Gabby Majikowski recorded a total of 41 kills. This game marks the first win in conference play for the team and brings their record up to 6 wins and 9 losses. Delilah Wolf was named MVC Freshman of the Week, tallying 87 assists, 5 kills, and 5 blocks between the 2 matches. Congratulations, Delilah, and be sure to stay tuned as the team gears up for their next 2 MVC games at home against Evansville and Southern Illinois. You can catch those games on ESPN3. We have some talented athletes walking around campus, but there are those few that stand above the rest.
RSL's Haley Spittler is here to tell us about her top 5 September Loyola athletes.
For this week's Top 5, I picked out the top 5 Loyola athletes for the month of September. These athletes have shown top-notch skills and were given impressive honors. Starting at number 5 is women's soccer midfielder Kiera Murray. Murray helped the Ramblers to their 2nd win this season. The senior started the scoring off with the program's first successful hat trick since 2007. Murray's hat trick helped the Ramblers defeat Chicago State 7-0. Number 4 is women's volleyball outside hitter Morgan Reardon. This is Reardon's 4th season starting for Loyola's volleyball team, and she recorded her 1,000th Loyola career kill during the game against Northern Illinois University. Reardon is the 14th player to accomplish this milestone in Loyola women's volleyball history. Number 3 is Morgan Brown of women's golf. As a freshman, Brown saw her first collegiate golf event in the Loyola Fall Invitational just a few weeks ago. She had a great first appearance as a Rambler, placing 2nd in the entire tournament. Her total after 3 rounds was 233 strokes, just 1 stroke more than the first place winner. Moving on to number 2 is Loyola men's soccer goalkeeper Andrew Chekadanov. As mentioned earlier, the Missouri Valley Conference named Chekadanov Defensive Player of the Week. In his first season as a starter, Chekadanov had shut out the last 6 consecutive teams the Ramblers faced. Unfortunately, in Tuesday's match against number 10 ranked Creighton, Chekadanov's streak was broken. And finally, number 1 goes to Loyola men's soccer defenseman Grant Stoneman. The Missouri Valley Conference named Stoneman Defensive Player of the Week a rare 3 consecutive weeks in September. He's played in all 8 regular season games and scored 3 goals, tying for the most goals this season by any single Rambler. Stoneman also scored the only goal against Drake University on September 17th, resulting in the Ramblers' first win against Drake on their home field. That's it for this week's Top 5. I'm Haley Spittler. Back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Haley. Women's softball was in action on Tuesday at Valparaiso, splitting the doubleheader with the Crusaders. In the first game, Loyola came out victorious 7-2. In the second game of the Twin Bill, the Ramblers fell 1-0. The team will be in action again on October 1st for a game at Notre Dame.
Student athletes have very busy schedules, and being healthy is a priority for all of them.
RSL reporter Kathy Novak was able to talk to one specialist that keeps our athletes in tip-top shape.
Corey Oshikoya is Loyola's Assistant Athletics Director for Sports Medicine. Having loved both athletics and medicine, it was the perfect career choice for him.
To walk them through the rehabilitation phase are all great opportunities to work with athletes and to enjoy athletics, but at the same time experience the medical portion of athletics.
Some ways Oshikoya treats an injury is through heat therapy, electrical stimulation units, and therapeutical practices.
Basically take the athlete and get them well and provide the best environment for healing.
I got a chance to try out some of their treatment techniques, the first of which was a muscle stimulant for bicep injuries. Oshikoya placed a stimulation machine to my right bicep, and the purpose of this is to increase blood flow. Next, I slipped into some leg compressors, and the purpose of these is to decrease swelling and increase blood flow back into my core. This is most noticeably used by the soccer athletes. Corey Oshikoya believes that you cannot have sports without sports medicine.
Athletes, once they come to the athletic training room and are involved with sports medicine professionals, understand that this is a place where you need to be in order to take care of your body and keep you going for the length of time that you plan to participate in sports.
Special thanks to Corey Oshikoya for giving us an inside look of how he keeps our student athletes in peak condition. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Kathy Novak.
Thanks, Kathy. For a deeper look inside Loyola Sports Medicine. The Loyola men's golf team finished strong at the Northern Kentucky Fall Classic Tournament this past Monday in Batavia, Ohio. The team finished 13th out of 17 teams with an overall score of 907. Low individual scores included junior Garrett Buckley with an even par 71 in the first round, sophomore Zach Hoskins with a 2 over 73 in the same round, and sophomore Ryan Yamat carded a 3 over 74 in the final round. The team will travel to Aurora, Ohio to compete at the Cleveland State Invitational this coming Monday and Tuesday.
The Loyola dance team is holding a clinic for young dancers on October 16th in the Sister Jean Multipurpose Room in the Damon Student Center. The clinic will offer dancers exposure to Rambler traditions, get attention from coaches and current dance team members, and a chance to learn new choreography. Participants will receive a t-shirt and have the chance to take pictures with Lou Wolf. One of the surprises in college football this year has been Louisville, who beat number 2 ranked Florida State 63-20 a couple weeks ago and have moved up to number 3 in the national poll. But are they a true contender?
Dylan Conover and his Ramble analysts discussed the Cardinals' dominance on this week's Ramble.
Hi, welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Dylan Conover, and I'm joined today by Emily Morgenstern, and sitting here once again is Henry Redmond. We're talking today about Louisville football. They're number 3 in the rankings, but should they be? I'll start with Emily.
No. I mean, they should be in the rankings, but they're not going to make it far into the playoff season. All they have is Lamar Jackson and nothing else.
Well, when you have Lamar Jackson, that's going to get you pretty far. They play in a very winnable ACC. I think it's entirely reasonable that they make the college football playoff this year.
Now, Henry, some of the competition I think they've played this year is a little questionable. They played Marshall, who's 1-2. They've played Syracuse, who's 2-2. And I mean, Florida State was a very good win. They're 3-1. But I mean, do you think their resume this year isn't where it's not really showing what they really are?
You're understating Florida State. They destroyed the number 2 ranked team in the country. That's a big deal. They've
only been playing teams with weak defenses.
They beat the number 2 team in the country. Look, it's early. They're going to play Clemson this week, and then they still have to play Houston. Those are the 2 big tests left. But they've been rolling through their schedule. You have to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and they've been doing that.
Okay, but listen here. They have nothing else but Lamar Jackson. He has 12 touchdowns out of the team's 19 touchdowns. He is leading in rushing yards by almost 100 yards. If he gets injured,
the team has 35.
what's going to happen?
The team has 35 touchdowns. He has 25 touchdowns, 13 passing,
What is
12
going to
rushing.
happen if he gets injured?
What happens to any team if their quarterback gets injured?
They have other players who can score.
Louisville has other players who can score too. They have Brandon Radcliffe, their leading rusher that isn't Lamar Jackson.
Emily, what about guys like Tim Tebow and even like right now, like
Christian
McCaffrey is like leading Stanford's offense. It seems like he's always the one scoring.
Okay, first of all, Tim Tebow is playing baseball. He's irrelevant right now.
Wait.
Lamar Jackson has just been hyped up.
Tim Tebow was one
It's
of the
September.
best college football players ever. He led Florida to multiple national championships. He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Emily, what do you think that Lamar Jackson and Louisville have to do to prove to you and to everyone else that they are legit?
They have to get more players running the ball. They have to get more players scoring touchdowns. They have to get a better defense.
Okay, the defense, look, they're the 27th ranked defense in the country, but if you look past the numbers, a lot of the points they're giving up are in garbage time when the game has already been put away. They gave up 10 points to Florida State in the fourth quarter. They gave up 21 points to Marshall in the fourth quarter when their scrubs are playing.
All I'm saying is right now it's all about Lamar Jackson. He's super hyped up. Yes, he's on Sports Illustrated.
Lamar Jackson
yes,
is
he's
blowing
like one of the
people
top
away.
contenders for the Heisman, but listen, it's September.
He's
the top contenders for the Heisman in September are never the same as December.
I don't know. He's the fastest quarterback to 25 touchdowns in over a decade.
But Louisville
Faster
has just
than
not
Cam
played a good
Newton,
enough teams
Johnny
to
Manziel,
actually,
Marcus Mariota,
see
Andrew
how they
Luck,
are.
or Tim Tebow.
Watch
all
when
of
they
those
lose
players,
to Clemson
all
this
of those
week.
players won
Watch when they
the
lose to
Heisman
Clemson
Trophy.
this week.
Most
All
of
eyes
them
are going to
had
be on
success.
Deshaun Watson and Clemson.
While it is September, it is early. I definitely do think there is something to Louisville this year. Especially, 25 touchdowns by quarterback is a lot. So I'm going to have to go with Henry on this one. Henry, you're still here. I don't know when someone's going to come in and just kick you out of here, but unfortunately, we're going to have to see you again next week. That's all we have for this week's Ramble. I'm Dylan Conover. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. It's a good thing my Irish aren't facing them this year. They can't seem to beat anyone.
For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Nick Schultz.
And I'm Andrew Brown. Check back here next week for another episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.